On page 30, you will see the tools that you need in order to successfully teach a Come Alive box. Up on the top, you will notice there is a Come Alive chant. This chant is so that the students understand why they are doing a Come Alive box. So this is your introduction and purpose of why you are doing a Come Alive box. Below it, you will see a chart with systematic, explicit directions that your students will learn in order to write a Come Alive box. When they have mastered these steps, they will actually be able to write their own. And that's the goal. Your goal is to teach a Come Alive box connected to their language arts story week after week until finally they can do this activity on their own and it becomes an independent piece of student work. It also ultimately becomes a skill they've learned so that they can write a Come Alive box to begin their own stories. Notice on the wall, I have the steps posted for students to follow. And then this was a completed Come Alive box. This actually happened to be a Come Alive box from the story The Puffins, in which the students had read, and then we came back and said, let's make this puffin and the setting come alive. And we walked through the steps in order to make this come alive. The students and I together were making a Come Alive box. I up on a chart or with a plain piece of paper under a document viewer, they on their papers, and after they finished and completed their Come Alive box, they wrote out what would eventually become an introduction to a story. So let's review. We have our Come Alive chant. Why? To give our students the purpose of the lesson. We are telling them through this chant why they are learning the Come Alive box. You also have your steps posted, or you could just put them under your document viewer of what the students need to know in order to write their own Come Alive box. And remember, these steps are explicitly displayed for students to understand so ultimately they can independently write an introduction, a Come Alive box for their own stories. In order to teach this skill, we are going to connect it to our language arts story, and this activity will be done during the language arts block. On page 34 and 35, you will see your own copy of the Come Alive chant and the directions that students will follow in order to write their own Come Alive box. So you don't need to make this large chart if you want to just display the steps using this black line master. Let's walk through how we're going to do a Come Alive box with our students. First thing, we need to introduce why it's important. So I'm going to say to the students, boys and girls, put your hands together just like you're about to read a story. Open up your storybook and everyone go like this. Go, every story. Ready, everyone? Every story. Now point inside of it. Every story has a setting and a character. Let's do it again. Every story has a setting and a character. Setting tells us, point to your wrist like a watch, time and place. What does setting tell us? Time and place. Let's go back. Every story has a setting and a character. Setting tells us time and place. Characters drive the action of the story in a beginning, middle, end. Now let's go to the beginning because that's where the Come Alive box is going to be important. In the beginning, the author better make the setting and character come alive or we will close the book. That's right. If an author does not make a character seem real, you don't even know the character's name. You have no idea what the character looks like or their personality. You don't know any of those things. Are you going to want to read the story? No. So the author better make the setting come alive or we will close the book. That's why we need to have a Come Alive box. Now let me show you what's in a Come Alive box. Are we ready? Come alive, come alive. Make the setting and the character come alive. Mood makes the setting, ape makes the character, but actions, actions, actions make them come alive. Our Come Alive chant, which I have posted for students to see, has the exact purpose of why we are learning the Come Alive box. We're going to put our hands up like this and say, come alive, make the setting, put a house up for setting, and then put two fingers and wiggle them like they're people character. Ready? Come alive, make the setting and the characters come alive. Now that we're telling them they need to make the setting and character come alive, let's go back and let's talk about the setting. So we're going to go like this. Mood makes the setting. And what is mood? Mood is the atmosphere. What does that setting feel like? Does it feel cozy? Is it scary? Is it exciting? What kind of setting is this? That's the mood. So we're going to say mood makes the setting. When we have mood, we need to have three things. We need the five senses. So if I'm describing Grandma's cozy kitchen, maybe I want to tell you what it looks like, how it smells, how it feels warm. Also, we could have figurative language. This is only when we need something to pop in the reader's mind. So what if the cookies that Grandma has been baking in the kitchen, I want to pop in the reader's mind so they see it's a really cozy kitchen. So let's say that we want to have the figurative language to make something pop. We're describing Grandma's cozy kitchen. Now we want to make those cookies that she's baking come alive to the reader so they really feel how cozy that room is. And we'll say something like, the aroma of the cookies floated across the room. And now maybe I'll use figurative language. Maybe I'll exaggerate, use hyperbole. Made me drool so much, left a puddle of water near my feet. The other thing we need to do is also have the character interact with the setting. And when we have the character interact with the setting, they could interact by doing things, saying things, thinking things. So maybe I'm thinking to myself as I smelled the cookies and I left a puddle of water, I'm also thinking to myself, oh, whenever I eat a cookie, I feel like I'm in heaven. Grandma is like an angel in my life. I've made the mood come alive. I feel that coziness of the setting. Next, we're going to move down to the character. So let's go back to our chant. Come alive, make the setting and the character come alive. Mood makes the setting, and now you put your arms like this and you say, but ape makes the character. And ape is, A is for appearance, P is for personality, and E is for emotion. So that's a little anachronism I created for the students to remember. This is what an author's going to do to make the characters come alive. They're going to describe their appearance, they're going to reveal their personality, and reveal also how they feel, what they're feeling like right then and there in the story. So ape is our little anachronism to remember what you need to do to make your characters come alive. Let's go back and say the whole thing again. Are we ready? Come alive, make the setting and the character come alive. Mood makes the setting, ape makes the character, but actions make them come alive. And that's our final piece. Students will understand why they need a come alive box. Because they need to create an atmosphere, a mood for the setting. They need to ape the character, make the character come alive and seem real, and then they also need actions. The character needs to be doing something. You can't just say, they had long hair, their hair was dirty. You have to actually make them come alive, interact in that setting. Once we've introduced that to students, then we are going to say, boys and girls, here are our steps. We are going to start with a blank piece of paper, follow each one of these steps, and after we follow each step, we will end up with a come alive box. Let's start first. Step 1, draw a picture. We've been reading Sylvester and the Magic Pebble. Let's make Sylvester come alive. Step 1, who are we going to draw? We said that we're going to draw Sylvester. Why are we drawing a picture? Because we need Sylvester to come alive. We need to create a picture, and from that picture, it's going to help us write our come alive box. What personality is going to be revealed in this picture? How is he going to feel? If you look at the very next page, you will see a completed come alive box of Sylvester. What we did was we went to the part of the story where Sylvester was very upset because he was out on vacation and it started to rain and get gloomy, which when you know about settings, the mood changes from a delightful little place to a gloomy place. Uh-oh, something bad may be happening. So we decided we're going to take that part of the story where Sylvester is upset and things start to change. The weather changes and he gets soaking wet while he's trying to find pebbles. So that's the part of the story we want to make come alive. First thing we did was we said, let's draw Sylvester. What would Sylvester look like if he is upset? And we drew ears that went down. They're not going to be up and perky. They're going to be drooping. He's looking up at the sky and he's sad and his eyes look sad. On his hoof, he's holding that magic pebble that he loves so much. His body is soaking wet, so we're going to have his body soaking wet. Once we have Sylvester drawn and we say, what kind of ears would an upset Sylvester have? What kind of eyes? And we're drawing the picture to match that. Then we'll go to the setting and say, what kind of setting is Sylvester in that's making him upset and sad? And now we drew the picture of the clouds and the rain pouring down. Once we have our picture so that we know how Sylvester feels in this picture, he's upset. We also know his personality is being revealed here because even though he's in this gloomy picture, he's not letting go of that rock. He's determined. And then we also want to look at his appearance, that his ears are droopy, he's upset, and his appearance is revealing how he feels. So we've drawn a picture, and then we go to step 2. Let's add thoughts, so here's our thought bubble, and dialogue to reveal how he feels. So we had, I wish the rain would stop, and brr, I'm turning into an ice cube. We have our drawing, we have thoughts, dialogue, and we know that he feels upset. Let's go to steps 3, 4, and 5. That's where we're going to make his appearance come alive by labeling the nouns, then the adjectives, and finally the verbs. We go to the nouns first. Notice we had ears, tail, hooves, rain, and body. What I do with the children is this. I say, let's look at our picture. What in our picture do we need to describe? Let's look at Sylvester first. What on Sylvester do we need to describe to reveal that he's upset, that he's having a bad day? So that's why we went to his ears. His ears will reveal that. His body, his fur, his tail. So we only wrote the nouns down, and we're not just writing down any part of his body. We're writing down the parts that can be described to reveal how upset he is, how he's feeling awful because the rain has come down. After we have labeled the nouns, then we'll go to the adjectives.